Hey guys, Steven here with More Weight Fitness, and today I'm going to break down the barbell back squat. Back squats are one of the most beneficial exercises you can do in the gym. You'll be hard pressed to find a single sports team that doesn't incorporate them into their strength and conditioning program. However, like most lifts in the gym, when performed incorrectly, they can do more harm than good. So here are 7 steps to get the most out of your barbell back squats, broken into 2 phases. Start by lining up your hands on the bar using the rings. Most people will be between their pinky on the ring and their index finger on the ring. Grip the bar deep in your palm and place the bar on your back in either the high bar position or the low bar position. Now, I'm not going to go into the details in this video about the high bar, low bar debate, but here's an overview. The low bar position is when the bar is placed just below the spine of your scapula, seated right on your rear deltoids. This type of squat has a more bent over or horizontal back angle. A high bar squat is when the bar is placed on top of your upper traps and results in a more vertical upright squat. In general, the low bar squat position is seen more in the sport of powerlifting, and the high bar squat position is seen in the sport of Olympic weightlifting. Whichever style you choose, make sure that your elbows and your forearms are closely aligned to your torso and stay that way throughout the movement. Before standing up with the weight, make sure that your feet are no wider than hip width and directly under the bar. Now, this may sound really picky, but if you stand up when your feet are too wide, then the bar will shift from side to side and this will happen. Next, take a big breath, get tight, and shift your hips forward directly under the bar and stand up strong. Now, the walkout should only be a 4-step process. First, take 1 step straight back, followed by the other foot right next to it, then widen, and then make any small adjustments you need. That's it. Don't take a bunch of steps on the way back with heavy weight on your back, wasting your energy, and then after a heavy set, you have all that distance to walk back before you can rack the weight. At this point, your feet should be wider than your hips and your toes pointed out slightly. All right, now time for the execution phase. This may be the most important thing you can do for your squat. Everything that happens after this is made possible by the brace. Before starting your descent, get a big belly breath and brace your entire midsection like you're about to get punched in the gut. During the brace, you will engage your abs, crunching down slightly, bringing the top of your abs closer to your belly button, and tuck your tailbone, flexing your glutes hard like you're trying to crack a walnut with your butt cheeks. What this does is make your trunk, which is holding up all that weight, rigid and stable, so that on the way up, all that force from your legs transfers up through your trunk and into the bar. Without bracing, your midsection is extremely unstable, and this not only makes your lift really inefficient, but when the weight is really heavy and the rep is really grindy, your midsection is now the weakest link. Imagine your midsection were a can of Coke. When unopened and full, it remains rigid even under heavy loads. Now look at that same can of soda when opened and empty. This is what it's like to squat unbraced. This is what causes the majority of form breakdowns that lead to back injuries. Guys, never skip the brace. It's an investment of energy that will pay off very quickly. To initiate the squat, break the hips and the knees at the same time, pushing your knees out and staying balanced over your midfoot. I used to give people way too many cues on squat, like don't let your knees go past your toes, or don't let your weight go too far back into your heels, or maintain a particular back angle. However, if you can just remember to stay balanced over your midfoot, you will eliminate most of the breakdowns that happen on a squat. The reality is, it just depends. I'm not gonna go into a big depth debate on this video, but here's how I see it. The only sport where squat is one of the main disciplines is the sport of powerlifting. And in most powerlifting federations, legal depth is defined as the top surface of the leg at the hip joint goes lower than the top of the knee. The reason is, it's the only measurable way of controlling your depth without literally touching your butt to your calves, and most people can stay tight at that depth. This is super important. A lot of people try and go too deep and they relax into that position, and the last thing you want to do when you have a heavy load on your back is relax or lose your flat back position. Depending on the bar placement and a number of other factors on how you're built, you will have a particular back angle on the way down with your squat. What's really important though is that you maintain that back angle on the way down and on the way up. A common breakdown on the squat on the way up is for people's hips to rise faster than their shoulders, making their back more horizontal. A less common breakdown is for someone's chest to rise faster than their hips, making you more vertical. Maintaining your back angle is essential for an efficient squat. Number 5, finish with your glutes. To finish your squat, your hips and your knees will lock out at the same time, but I want you to think primarily about squeezing your glutes to finish the movement. Most people are overly quad dominant and think of the squat as just another quad exercise, when really it's a posterior chain exercise. And when you're squatting properly with your hips back and your knees out, they can all do their job and your squat numbers will go up. Trust me, your quads are gonna be working on your squats no matter what you do, so focus on the glutes. Now let's put all that together. Setup phase. Number 1, hand placement, bar placement. Secure the bar firmly on your back with straight wrists. Number 2, standing up and walking out. Make sure your feet are hip width apart, directly under the bar. Then get a big breath, brace, and stand up. Then walk out using 4 deliberate steps. Straight back, then the other foot, then widen, widen, and make any small adjustments you need. Execution phase. Step 1, big breath, brace. Before starting your descent, get a big belly breath and brace like you're about to get punched in the gut. Number 2, mid-foot focus. To initiate the squat, break at your hips and knees at the same time, pushing your knees out and staying balanced over your mid-foot. Number 3, how deep? Squat down until the top of your legs at your hip joint descend below the top of your knees if you can maintain form at that depth. Number 4, maintaining your back angle. All the way down and all the way up, make sure there is no noticeable change in your back angle. And lastly, finish with your glutes. To finish the movement, lock out your hips and your knees at the same time, but focus mainly on finishing the movement by squeezing your glutes. I know this is a lot of information to take in all at once, but I promise if you practice these steps, keep the weight light while you're learning, and as always, video your lifts, you will build a strong and stable squat that will pay big time with big PRs in the future. If you're brand new to the squat, I highly recommend you check out my video on PVC or rod assisted squats. Thanks for watching and always practice safe squats.